What's up everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2023 Volkswagen Golf GTI SE. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this hot hatch for me today. Definitely take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. This GTI is finished off in a deep black pearl. MSRP is right around $36,000. And this is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo paired to a 6-speed manual transmission, pumping out 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the front wheels, propelling this 3,100-pound vehicle from 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds. Top speed is 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 23 miles per gallon in the city, 27 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 103.6 inches. Its overall length is 168.8. It has a width of 70.4 and a height of 57.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Golf, let's start off with the LED bar that runs from the headlight housing to headlight housing. So you will notice just underneath the red accents for the GTI, we get all the red accents. There's actually a DRL strip just underneath that. So it blends in nicely with the DRL and turn signal in the top section of that headlight housing, where of course this does have LEDs, but it's a very nice distinctive look for this front end. Now the Volkswagen badge right in the middle is also the forward-facing sensor. This does have adaptive cruise with the distance pacing, even with that manual transmission, which is nice to see. There's parking sensors up front, plenty of cutouts in the lower section. There's also some fog lights nicely blended into the trim accents down below. And then there's a few lines that come down the hood just to give it more of a sporty look. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 18-inch wheels, finished off in gloss black. Calipers have been painted red as well. There's a GTI badge just above the back tire there with more red. There's also the turn signals on the side mirrors, which are body colored, and this does have a sunroof up top. All the window trim is black. There's some more black in the lower side skirt there, and it has a really nice side design to it. Being a hot hatch, it has that look to it, of course. Very crisp point too at the height of the door handles, going all the way back to the taillights. Everything else is a little bit more smooth, which is nice to see. Now in back, we have the body colored spoiler with the third brake light, wiper blade. There's LED taillights, GTI badge right in the middle, all the sensors, backup camera, and then the dual exhaust on both sides. Now what's really neat about this, when you walk up to the vehicle and you want to load items into the cargo space, simply just push on the top of the Volkswagen badge, and then you can lift up on that handle until it releases and you can open that up. Now in back, being a hatchback, you have a lot of space. There's some items in here currently at the moment, but with the back seats up, you definitely have a good amount of space. There's also this cover, which you can remove. And then you can also fold down the back seats, of course, giving you a lot more interior space versus just having a traditional sedan. You have a lot more space for some larger items. And then it is a lightweight liftgate, so it's very easy to close at the same time. Now, as we work our way to the back seats, we have a very nice interior. So the door panel is a little bit more on the simple side. There's some material on the armrest, a little bit of storage down below, brushed aluminum for that release handle, some plastic in the upper section there. But take a look at these 3-tone design seats, finished off in leather with all the red stitching and then some gray and black, which is nice to see. It also makes its way to these front seats, of course. But at 5'10", I have a good amount of space. There's storage pockets, there's even some air vents, a little bit of storage, not sure what you would place there. But there's also a bulge right in the middle, but you can have 3 people back here. Right in the middle, you have the armrest along with 2 cup holders, and then you can also fold down this part here and gain access into the back. So if you have people in the back, but you have some longer items, you can slide those through. And then as far as headroom goes at 5'10", I have about 1 inch or so above my head. So actually it's very comfortable and doable for full-size adults to be in the back. So you pretty much have the best of both worlds as far as storage and placing people in the back seat. Now the front door panel has all of your window adjustments, side mirror controls, which are heated too. A lot more storage down below. And then take a look at the front seats with the GTI logo. Bolstering support is very good. We have all the memory seating controls. Driver's side is power operated. Passenger seat is all manual. And then take a look at the leather steering wheel. It's perforated on the sides and then solid on the top and bottom. GTI badge is down below too. But let's fire this up with my foot on the brake and the clutch. That start button is just in front of the shifter, and we can take a listen to this GTI. And then coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, we have a lot that we can go through. Currently, the tach is on the left side. On the right side, there's miles per hour. And then you can go through a lot within each of those by using these controls over on the right side of the steering wheel. Now there's voice commands, there's also a view button, heated steering wheel, you have tuning, and then all of these to further go through these. So let's start over on that left side where it's currently on performance. And then you have some other vitals and information that you can go through just depending on what you would like to see. And by clicking on it, I can pull up the G-force meter and you can go into boost, and that will change that entire left side there, still keeping the tach on that side, which is pretty cool. If I click on the left now, we can go right into the middle and scroll through all of this information. So you even have the navigation, which you can pull up for the entire screen. There's a calm screen, you have the date and the time, road signs, miles per hour, and then back to that information. And if I scroll all the way over to the right side, now we can pull up some more, like your gear display, you have your fuel. Looks like some similar information to that left side, but now we have nav, audio, phone, speed, time, acceleration, performance, and a few others that you already saw. Now, if I click on the view button, that will minimize your tach and your miles per hour. You can still go through all this information, however, it's just going to minimize how you see that on the left and the right. And it looks like I made it it looks like I went to no display for that left side. But if I go into eco mode or economy, you can pull that up. And then if you want to bring it back in full screen, you still have that. So it's very configurable, great to see, especially for this price point. Now on this left side, these are all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings with volume for your audio as well. And then on the left side, there's one air vent. There's also these touch sensitive buttons for the headlight adjustments. There's mode, your defrosters too, you even have rear, and they have that haptic feedback to them, so you can hear that click to know that you have pushed on it. Now, as we work our way to the infotainment system now, all of these icons are readily available, like vehicle. So if we go into that, you have some data that you can monitor. You can go into vehicle itself, look at all of the lighting, look at your tires, so you can pull up your TPMS. Actually pretty cool to be able to see that. There's also lighting that you can adjust as well. And then if we go into the interior, we have all of the lights, even the seats that you can go into and adjust. Very easy to go through that, pretty cool to see. If I push on that square, we can get back to the ambient lighting. You have your phone, even the navigation, so you can pull that up within this center screen. And I can swipe over for a split style view, navigation and phone. And then it looks like that is all. You might have one more page that you can customize as needed. We even have heated seats, so you can quickly get into those along with all the climate adjustments. And then underneath that, there's some more of those haptic controls. We have power for the audio. There's even the temperature dials, so you just have to push on the top of them in order to adjust that. Volume's right in the middle. And then we have a few other controls for the brightness that you can get into, and your audio as well for volume. And then you have some other controls up top. It's a really interesting layout for those, but it makes it look a little bit more clean. Really cool trim accent just underneath that. And then right in the middle, there's the assist. So if I push on that, you have the safety tech that you can monitor and go through. There's also a shortcut to your climate adjustments. You have different modes that you can get into, like eco, comfort, sport, and a custom. And then there's also a menu control for parking. So it will pull up your backup camera, and you do have sensors which you can turn on and off. There's an air vent on both sides of those. Underneath that, a few auxiliaries with a little bit of storage. It looks like that is a wireless charging pad too. And then with the 6-speed manual transmission, you have to push this down to the left and up, and that will pop up with the backup camera. That is actually hidden on the inside of the Volkswagen logo, so it's a dual purpose. You can use that to open up the liftgate, and it will flip up too when you put this into reverse. And then behind that, we have the e-brake. There's one cup holder, a 12-volt, a little bit of storage just behind that. And then in the center armrest, there's a good bit of space, as well as in the glove box, so you have plenty of room. And then something really cool with this sunroof and sunshade is the fact that we have the perforations for the sunshade itself. So with the controls in the middle, if I just swipe my finger in the back direction, that is how you can open up the sunroof. But with this particular model and a few Audi models, you can actually keep this closed and still have the sunroof open. So if you want to block that harsh sun, as you can see right there, you have the option to do that. Then all you have to do is swipe your finger in the forwards direction and it will close. Very cool to see those controls. There's also the touch sensitive dome lights as well. So just click on them, they will go on and off. And as far as visibility goes, with this being a hatchback, it is pretty easy to see over both shoulders. So you definitely have a lot of visibility for this smaller car. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Golf GTI, I really don't have that much seat time behind the wheel of this vehicle. We don't really get to check them out that often. But first initial impressions, I'm honestly blown away with what this hot hatch has for the price. We even have the Harman Kardon sound system, which I just noticed too. But the amount of technology that is in this vehicle, a lot of it is shared from Audi, of course. I've been in a lot of Audis, and a lot of it is very, very similar. It's very cool to see for more of a family style vehicle like this, and something that you still want to have fun with. Going with the 6-speed manual and being able to take turns like this, even with it being front wheel drive, it took that very, very well. This is such a fun car to drive already. I also want to talk about the clutch pedal and the shifter. Of course, it's a manual, so we have to cover that, but it is very, very different than any other manual that I've driven. The clutch pedal seems very fine, very lightweight, similar to other models that have a similar engine, so a 2-liter 4-cylinder. But this shifter, let's take a listen if you can hear it. Do you hear how notchy that is? It just clicks into that next gear. So it almost feels like it's a short throw shifter, even though it's fairly tall, just like a standard shifter, but it's very, very driver engaging. I like that click that it has to it, just to make sure you are in that gear. And as far as power goes for this, it's a pretty peppy 4-cylinder. This weighs right around 3,000 pounds. I could see it maybe having a little bit more power, but a mild acceleration like that, and we're up to speed. I don't really have any complaints with that for what it is. It seems like it's something that is going to be very, very fun to drive, and it's also incredibly practical at the same time. So you can go out on some twisty roads, but you can also bring your friends with you, put items in the back, use this as a fun daily driving vehicle. So the fact that you have all of that for around 36 grand, I think is very impressive. It also drives very nice. I don't have any complaints with its suspension. It's so quiet too. It's a well-refined vehicle, and you will find that with this, since it's part of the Audi group. They do make some very nice driving vehicles, and the fun factor is definitely there with this car. And from second gear, we are in sport mode. Here we go. About half throttle there, and we are up to speed with ease. So you have a lot more potential for this hot hatch than I'm throwing at it today. But one thing that I also forgot to show too is there's a third view icon where hopefully you can see right now. I have a G-force meter, I have PSI, and right in the middle is what gear the vehicle is in. You can actually go in and customize those as you would like to. So I showed earlier the other view icons with the navigation large or small. This is a third option. So if you're doing some sporty driving, you can quickly see those important vitals if you're on some back roads or something like that. So now that we are in the driver's seat here from this angle with the GTI, it is such a nice car for the money. It's really hard to argue against this car when it's more of an economy style vehicle, but it's also practical fun. It's got nice materials. You feel a little bit of torque steer there if you really get on it, but it doesn't seem bad for the driving that I'm doing. But I also wanted to point out too, real quick, if we close the sunshade, swipe our finger to open up the sunroof, hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. I'm not going to keep it open for long, but you get that aspect where you can keep yourself a little more shaded and still have that open. I think that's a great feature. Pretty much only Audi and Volkswagen are doing that. No one else has a sunroof or sunshade like that. So it's great to see from Volkswagen. But for 36 grand, if you want something that's going to be very fuel efficient, something that you can mod to, GTI has a huge following for performance modifications and just anything you want to do to it. It's probably not going to be an expensive vehicle to do those mods. Of course, it just depends on what you're doing, but you're also going to get a reliable vehicle too. So you're going to have something that should be easy to maintain, yet fun to drive, easy to keep on the road. But I think that is going to wrap it up for this 2023 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this fun hot hatch for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.